Yo, yo, yo. It's me, RJB, and I just had to put that up there to celebrate a total of 300 subscribers. I've got no idea where they all come from, but they're all here. That's kind of cool. I've been having more success with this than I thought I would have, and I'm really glad for that one, because this kind of just started as a hobby to learn how to cast, because I've always wanted to do it. And yeah, just kind of a hobby to, keep myself busy whenever I'm bored, have something or nothing to do really. Yeah, that aside though. Yeah, thank you for all subscribers, viewers, for keeping me company. Now, this replay is a replay between LuckYBack, who's playing on the name 11111111LLIL, and his opponent is probably a lot of L's, U, 2 L's and a U, and I think that's either Leebokgu or Minchel. I'm not quite sure. The only thing I can confirm is that 11111111LLIL is LuckYBack. Now you might be wondering, why did I pick this replay? Well, you might have already spotted it. It is a Terran versus Terran, and Koreans have a way of making this an exciting matchup, so I kind of want to dive into this one, see how it's going to play out. It should be exciting, and it's also for the sake of variety, because most replays honestly are Protoss against Terran. And I mean, there's also a lot of Protoss against Protoss. Like, there's probably just as much Protoss versus Protoss as there's Protoss against Terran. But the bottom line is, it's a lot of Protoss. Like, pretty much every single game is Protoss. So I really want to introduce some alternative matchups, like how I did the Levi style against Hamburg Assassin last week. That was a pure Zerg versus Zerg series, and that one was really enjoyable, really unique, and honestly certified fresh. That's why I want to do this. Certified fresh Terran versus Terran. Both players pretty much starting off the same, but LuckYBack is trailing behind by about 110 gas on Leebokgu. I'm just going to call him Leebokgu, but he probably is not Leebokgu. I might also just call him Barcode, or Mr. U. I could call him U. I'm not quite sure. ULLU? Yulu. I could call him Yulu, because at the end it's ULLU. Yulu. I call him Yulu. That definitely makes some sense. And I just hit print screen, so now everyone knows my name. But that's not that important. You could have figured it out, RJB. It probably could be anything, really. Alright, so let's see. 2 factors coming out for both players, but Yulu is a little ahead of LuckYBack. LuckYBack comes in with a Marine, because this Marine didn't catch the Marine, so that Marine is going to try to kill that SCV, but SCV runs away from the factory. Another one comes in to resume construction. Marine there on the hunt for for the Marine, but the Marine is trying to make its way out of there. A couple more Marines here on the way, though. Looks like LuckYBack was a little bit ahead with his Marine production compared to Yulu, even making a bunker there in the front just to attempt to keep Yulu contained. Yulu setting in his barrack over the hill. He's got no academy though, so no danger coming from that barrack. He's just going to go for the scouting, get himself some information on what LuckYBack is up to. LuckYBack has his 2 factors finished up, and he's got Vultures on the way, and likewise, Yulu has his own Vultures on the way as well. Yulu a little bit ahead though, as I've already mentioned before. He already has his 3rd factory on the way there. Whereas these 2 Vultures trying to get out, but incapable, although they could have snuck out here. But there's 4 Marines there in the bunker, which should take down a Vulture before it can even pass through this little hole there. So he's forced to stay contained within his base. Machine Shop finishing up, but the Machine Shop has already finished up for LuckYBack, who is now starting Siege Mode upgrade. Whereas Yulu is not yet starting a Siege Mode upgrade, because he started with a Starport. Because he wants those dropships to fly in all the way over here. And Yulu is trying to block access to the minerals, but there's actually a tiny little spot you can click on. Let me just see if I can find it. Oh wait, never mind. I can, because it's always yellow. But nonetheless, there's like a tiny little yellow spot right there that you can click on. You see it there? He even clicked on it, the exact right spot. under my mouse, that's where you click when someone is hovering a barracks or a building over the minerals. So you can still keep mining your minerals. You don't have to worry about not having access to your minerals. Just click on that exact spot I just highlighted, and you can click on the minerals. Still keep mining. So yeah, the wall here, pretty well done, keeping those vultures inside. But the tank is already there, and the tank for lllU is a little... tank for LuckYBack. Not for lllU. The tank for LuckYBack is a little bit late. Oh wait, it's already there. It's not late. It's tank number 2 that's in construction. Tank number 1 is already on the scene. Starport there, finishing up there for lllU. Dropship should be on the way as well. 2 gazers. He's got an armory on the way already. He's making an engineering bay for turrets, because of course you need some turrets in a TVT. And he's going for more factories than lllU is going. lllU is... yeah, this pretty much like the difference is this would have been an engineering bay for LuckYBack, but he decides to switch it up and go for factory number 4. And lllU is expecting tank drops, so he has sieged up all of his tanks all around his minerals to protect his mineral line. But at the same time, though, he is exposing the remainder of his base to some significant risk, which I think LuckYBack is going to take advantage of. If I thought he was, but he isn't. Maybe he is. Is he going to land up on the hill there? I think he's going to land those tanks up on the hill there, or past the hill. He goes back in. He just goes back in. All right. He's just scouting, but there's also already a Goliath out there for lllU, which means that now LuckYBack is forced to pull back and goes back. He's just keeping information. I'm just not going to talk about that dropship anymore. It's just information. I keep thinking he's going to do something fancy, but nothing fancy is happening. This, though, is fancy there from lllU. Instead of dropping those siege tanks next to the other 2 siege tanks, trying to take down the siege tanks, and he will actually take down one of the siege tanks while not losing any of his own siege tanks, and it looks like he took down both siege tanks. Unsieged siege tanks are pretty darn strong with their damage. Look at that. Well, you can no longer see it, but they deal 35 damage when they're not sieged up, which is quite a significant amount of damage, because you also have to calculate in this sieging uptime and the sieging downtime. And if you don't siege them, you can pretty much deal the same amount of damage to a single target as you would if you siege them up. So it's worth it, because you can also micro them if they are not sieged up. Okay, lllU has control over the hill, which is definitely going to be some sort of a deal breaker here for LuckYBack, because that might come back to bite him. Had he gotten control over the hill before lllU, he would have definitely had some dominance there, or some potential to at least get control over this section. lllU now going to put his Goliaths somewhere else. Or not. He's not going to put them somewhere else. Is he just going to fly back and forth? He's going to repair it. That's it. So yeah, this is pretty much just a standard early game TVT. Sometimes there's more action. This time around, both players are kind of just setting up their bases, not really planning on engaging in any firefights. We had some small short exchanges twice. Vultures against the bunker, tanks against tanks, and we're probably going to see a lot more of that. But right now, at the moment, LuckYBack is fishing for an opening. He hasn't found one yet. It might be difficult to find an opening here, though, because he cannot unload another tank right here in between on those 2 spots. So he's pretty much forced to relinquish control over that for the entire duration of the game. And here, lllU is trying to drop units on top of the SCVs, so that the siege tanks kill the SCVs with splash damage, which almost happened. Look at the HP on those SCVs. Luckily, the turrets took down the dropship, so that wasn't really going to happen. This is pretty much, if lllU decides to do this again and lands something right next to the SCVs, he might kill those SCVs and win himself the game. Because then it becomes very easy for him to just walk and rush and walk over LuckYBack with his tanks and his tank drops. Also, I honestly do think lllU might be Leebokgu, because the APM does match. Playstyle, I guess it somewhat matches, I'm not too sure. LuckYBack is trying to get control somewhere. LuckYBack setting up tanks next to the hill just to deny this entire portion here. Now he has control over this area. LuckYBack has control over this area. So this should be, theoretically speaking, an area where LuckYBack can try to gain control inside of lllU's base. Because if he lands tanks here, that becomes an area where his opponent, lllU, cannot go into. I'm just going to keep calling him lllU, because I honestly still don't know who he is. He could be Minchul, he could be anyone, really. I just have no clue who that guy is. I just picked this for the sake of it being a TPT. Right, so another wave of dropships loading up those waves of tanks. Both players steadily rising on their worker counts. Looks like lllU is about to gain control over this portion here, which is the only area in his base where he did not yet have control. But lllU is at the moment somewhat contained. There's still an opening here for him to leave the base. Gonna put tanks there up on the hill. And LuckYBack finally sending out his dropships. That's 4 dropships. Each of them has something in them. Mostly tanks. 1 Goliath. They're in the mix as well. He's going to unload there up on the hill and getting himself a little bit of an extension from here to here. So he has that going for him. And this now gives him control over this. So now that means that lllU has to siege up at least this far away if he doesn't want to lose control. But LuckYBack might beat him to it because he's already loading up those tanks behind the hill. He's going to fly them over the hill and unload them probably somewhere in this vicinity, where lllU is yet to gain control. Or is he? He's flying them back. Oh, is he picking up more tanks? But by picking up more tanks, though, he is giving lllU the chance to siege up here on the base and relinquishes the opportunity to get control there, because it's quite hard to get control over tanks with dropships and tanks. Unless, of course, you drop right on top of the tanks like he's doing right here, dropping right on top of the hill, because there's only 3 tanks here. But the tanks are going down, though, quite quick. But he's managing to get control here, because now those tanks are rolling into the range of these tanks. But now those tanks here, outside of the range of these tanks, are sieging up inside of the range of those tanks and gonna take down those tanks up there up on the hill. Slightly misplayed by LuckYBack, but he does clear out this entire section, kills a lot of tanks there from lllU, and gets a supply lead now over lllU. But lllU is not planning on just giving this all up, because he's already setting up a counter move, it appears, because he's loading up his own tanks and his own Goliaths to drop them somewhere on top of LuckYBack's units. There he goes in, starts unloading on top of those units, and in return, though, no units here on the low ground, so now LuckYBack is... They're both pretty much... I think it was an attempt to trade places, but the trading places kind of fails for lllU, because now LuckYBack is here on the low ground, and those Goliaths are not strong enough to take all of this down, because this tank here is also firing on those Goliaths. But Fessel's coming in for the radiate here on the SUVs of LuckYBack. He gets... the one specific SUV that he radiated, already being on low HP, saved this entire stack of SUVs, because the SUV instantly died and didn't get any results. And it looks like lllU, in the meantime, also got control back over this portion there. Cleared out a couple of tanks here as well. It's only 3 tanks now directly threatening lllU, but lllU throwing down a massive amount of starports. He's making raids. He's going for mass raids, it appears. LuckYBack has to get something going here if he wants to have a chance at winning this, because he does not have the same amount of starports that lllU has. lllU is ahead of them in that regard. He's got more gas, more minerals being spent, because he's got 11 more SUVs. Some of them just died. LuckYBack, though, is killing the armories here and killing the supply depots. So in that sense, LuckYBack is dealing more damage, but he's running behind on the facts in unit composition, because those raids are going to be lethal against those tanks, because there's nothing to keep those tanks alive or to protect those tanks against raids. He does have a couple of Goliaths there on the way, but I don't see any anti-air that is viable in this situation, because those Goliaths are not going to do all that great, because the Goliath number is simply too low against this amount of starports. Because that's a lot of raids coming out here from lllU. As you can see here, he's already regaining control, plus those raids can kill those dropships, so he might not be able to keep up dropping units behind enemy lines or within the enemy base. All of this also happening just outside of the range of those turrets. The units now coming in, 2 Goliaths. He wants to re-establish control over this portion really quick and use those Goliaths to scare those raids away. Another wave of raids already coming in, ready to assist the raids that are already there. A couple of 11 raids there, taking down the tanks. And LuckYBack, I think, is starting to regret his choice in tech. Because lllU built a lot of stuff, but he has also more SCV, so he can afford to, whereas LuckYBack is only just now restarting SCV production to get back up to where he should be. As I've mentioned before, many times before, LuckYBack is running behind on the facts. Vessel with some raids coming in for the attack on the minerals. The Vessel goes in almost all the way. Vessel gets radiated off, but only a single... No! Yes, only a single SCV will die to the radiate. Great SCV selection there from LuckYBack. Also has now gained control over the hill there because the tanks up on the hill there have died. Tanks on the other side of the hill are sieging up though. And both players are trying to get vision of the tanks on the other side. But it looks like LuckYBack wins that exchange because he simply had more tanks. Which is also a direct result of all those raids that he was making. I don't like that lllU suicided all of his raids into those turrets here, because he could have done a lot of stuff, a lot of work, gained a lot of advantages with those raids, but he decided to throw them away, which I completely disagree with. So yeah, 1-1 upgrades for both players. Actually 1-2 upgrades here for LuckYBack. So he is ahead of the curve in terms of upgrades, but he did lose a lot of workers just now. I missed that one. Wait, lllU lost his workers. Did he kill his own workers? I don't think anything actually made it through. Did he get tank dropped? I think he got tank dropped, and I missed it completely. I'm gonna have to look back at that one later on at the end, just to see what happened there. But this means that this is a grand opportunity for LuckYBack to start the push, because lllU has no income. He pretty much only has a mass to fight, and he's losing starports here on the bottom side of his base very quick. But tanks coming in here through the front, and there's nothing here in the front to defend yet. But tanks and Goliaths are now moving into position to stop those tanks from advancing into LuckYBack's base. lllU sieges up, starts firing on the Goliaths, but Goliaths are taking... The Goliaths are not taking all the tanks down, but they at least lower the number of tanks there by quite a significant bit. Another group of vessels coming in from the bottom side. There's no protection from the bottom side, but I think LuckYBack will be just fine. Tanks are being dropped here inside of lllU's base, and there's a Goliath there to support the tanks against those raids. Raids are going in, but the raids don't really pose much of a threat against all those Goliaths. Vessels not yet moving in because lllU is busy defending himself. Oh, actually, this is what happened. There's a vessel there in the top corner, and those vessels killed the workers. And lllU has not yet taken care of those vessels there in the top corner, which means he might start losing his workers once again. All the while, vessels now coming in as those tanks there are advancing deeper and deeper into lllU's base. Vessels now coming onto the radiate, onto those SCVs and killing another port. Wait! At the same time, the SCVs there belonging to LuckYBack got radiated, which I missed again. I keep missing all this stuff because pretty much so much is happening at the same time. LuckYBack now advancing. LuckYBack was quite a bank, but his worker count is now lower than lllU's. But lllU is in danger of losing his SCVs to these vessels here in the top corner, which now have radiate once again. So I'm expecting a radiate on those SCVs very soon. Oh, that's so unfortunate. Single SCV kill instantly. So pretty much the top SCV that he selected had too little HP to kill the remaining of the SCVs to keep the radiate going. But nonetheless, look at all the buildings that lllU has already lost. He's only got 2 starports left. He's in danger of losing this entire portion here and here. Only these tanks here are defending, which means he's going to lose this and this, because that's what he can hit outside of the range of this tank and those tanks. Also outside of the range of that tank. But now dropships are coming in. He's going to unload right. Where is he going to unload? It's a mystery. It truly is, because all of these drops are completely full. And now he's going to go for, I think, the final push. One more push forward on top of those tanks there, and he wins the game. Sieging up right next to the SCVs. SCVs now getting taken down. SCVs getting shut down, and lllU loses the game. LuckYBack makes somewhat of a comeback because he was running behind on the facts, but he played this one really well. And lllU made some pretty big mistakes that wound up costing him the game. But this is a pretty exciting second half here. The first half was a little bit lackluster, which is kind of Now that kind of just happens in Terran versus Terran. The first half is usually not that exciting because both players are just setting up a zone of control with their tanks or with their marines in case they go for barracks in random versus random, where they then find out that, oh damn, my opponent is Terran as well, what do I do now? But anyway, they try to set up control first over specific areas and zones before the enemy can get control over those same zones. Because having control over zones in Terran versus Terran gives you the ability to either throw punches and attacks or to be on the receiving end. So zone control is very important in Terran versus Terran. Like the entire zone a tank controls is pretty much yours. And the opponent has to invest more into getting control than you would stand to lose. Anyway, exciting match, not all too long, only 18 minutes. And yeah, I'm gonna try to look back at that radiate just because I missed it, and I'm kind of curious to see how that radiate happened exactly. It has not happened yet. Just they're coming in from the top side. Gotta speed that one up. There they coming in. And the SV count for lllulU goes from 50 to 30, I think. Because you got both sides, and both sides are completely going to die. There they go. We actually got 44. So we had 44 SVs mining minerals, and all of them were all of a sudden gone. That was happening while he was pushing out with those tanks here through the choke point. That's what had happened. And I think those vessels are gonna try and go in again, because I don't see them there in the top corner at the moment. So yeah, that's what happened. Anyway, thanks for watching. Just a quick video to somewhat celebrate 300 subscribers. I want to, otherwise, like I was actually planning to do a Brain God against Love the Rabbit series. That one is rather lengthy, and I was planning to do that tomorrow. So you've got something to look forward to tomorrow. Brain God against Rabbit. It's a pretty nifty series. They play 2 series or 3 series in May. So in this month of May, they played 3 series of 1 versus 1. And they were pretty damn exciting. So I'm looking forward to bringing you that excitement as well. Even though I haven't seen them myself. I just assume they're exciting. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.